Years ago, my marketing professor at uni said something that really stuck with me. And that was, if you were to go into the trash bag of someone you've never met, you could tell a lot about that person simply by all the things they've consumed and thrown away. And I'm not just talking about things like their favorite food, or maybe like the medication they use. I'm talking about symbolic consumption. And that's the term used by consumer behavior. Symbolic consumption is the intentional or unintentional communication of a person's personality through the products they consume. The reason I bring this up is because I think it could help some people gain insight into the sort of person they are by observing like your own consumption. So by observing your own consumption, you can kind of like decode more about yourself, about your personality and your beliefs and values. Like, we seldom ever think about why we buy things, right? Typically we just buy things based on like two main factors, and those being like price and just how the product makes us feel. Like, these two dimensions are like the biggest variables that influences whether we decide to purchase something or not. So like, we play games like Outcome Memories because we think it's fun, or wear certain clothes because we like how they feel or look on us. But other than that, do we really question why we're drawn to certain products? I don't think many of us do. Again, it's kind of like just superficial reasoning, like, oh, I just like this thing. I just like how it makes me feel. It's affordable, like it. Other than that, there really isn't like a deeper dive to why we consume certain products. And, like, that's normal. Many people feel like it ain't that deep. And honestly, it makes sense for you to feel that way, right? Even if you do find pattern in your consumption, like, then what? Like, what do you do with that information? How do you even interpret that data correctly? Like, okay, great. You see like there's some pattern in like the products you consume and throw away, but then what, right? Like, it's kind of hard to kind of even know what to do with that data. It's really difficult to do that. And so it's just easier to just shrug it off and say it ain't that deep. But if we're being 100%, it absolutely is that deep. Hell, it's called consumer behavior, which is an entire field that, studies and combines marketing and psychology. Companies literally throw millions of dollars into this stuff, into this sort of research. So, why not use it in your own life? It's free for you to use for your own personal use, and you might find something useful about yourself. So, how can you correctly observe and hypothesize about yourself based on the things you've consumed? And that method is very simple. The first step is to identify who you are as a person. This is like your personality, your thoughts, your behaviors, beliefs, values, likes and dislikes. In fact, I actually have a video called You're Not Built for Everything, and That's Okay. And in that video, I kind of show you how psychologists break down personality using an easy-to-use model. Again, that video is super simple, and I encourage you all to watch it if you're kind of struggling with kind of understanding what personality is, which I know we use that word a lot, personality. But a lot of us get it wrong, and there actually are dimensions to this. And that video basically shows how the pros kind of like decode it, and how you can do it yourself. But yeah, for this first step, I encourage you all to try your best to accurately capture how you would describe yourself. Writing it down is typically like the most intuitive and effective way, but you can just also keep a mental note as well if you choose to do so. But yeah, try your best to capture how would you describe yourself as a person? Again, thoughts, behaviors, interests, likes and dislikes, etc. The next step is to describe who you want to become, right? So you're talking about in the first step, you're talking about your present self. Now you're talking about your future self. Describe that person's personality. How do they behave? What are their thoughts like? Their values and beliefs? Their likes and dislikes? Simple enough. The last step is to examine how you use consumption to manage your emotions. And just to be clear, when I say consume, I don't just mean food, the clothes you wear, the movies you watch, the games you play. These all count as consumption. So look at products you typically consume and how you use them emotionally. So like when you're happy, are there any products or product types you gravitate towards? How about when you're sad, angry, or stressed? Do you find yourself drawn to certain brands or product types? Again, this might sound like something that isn't that deep or whatever, but like I said, companies invest millions and for some companies even billions of dollars into this sort of thing, right? Like this isn't some arbitrary stuff. This is, something that is actually very important. And, like I can prove it simply. Look around. Think of your favorite fast food chain or your favorite coffee shop chain, right? If you compared photos of these establishments from 15 years ago to like present day, even the buildings look completely different, the aesthetics. And that's not by accident or coincidence. Those changes represent billions of dollars in investment to fit this aesthetic or like to fit a certain aesthetic or personality and lifestyle of like their intended demographics